Hey everyone, I'm working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button right now.
Picture this for a moment. It's a cold morning in Toronto, the kind where the city feels like it's holding its breath, and inside the Blue Jays front office the phones aren't ringing, they're humming. Not buzzing with panic, not screaming with desperation, but vibrating with possibility. Because after missing out on Kyle Tucker, after watching Bichette walk, and after seeing Cody Bellinger slip quietly into Yankee pinstripes, the Toronto Blue Jays have stumbled into something far more dangerous than a consolation prize. They've been handed a golden opportunity, and today, right here on the Blue Jays Report, we're pulling that opportunity apart piece by piece. This isn't one of those stories that explodes all at once. It's a slow burn, the kind that creeps up on you while everyone else is distracted. While fans were busy debating contracts and cursing Scott Boras, reports quietly emerged suggesting Ross Atkins isn't done. Not even close. There's movement under the surface, and it points firmly toward an outfielder via trade. But that's only the beginning. Because late last night, a trade elsewhere in baseball sent shockwaves that ripple straight into Toronto's orbit, and Bichette himself has finally spoken since choosing the Mets over the Blue Jays, revealing a truth that has fans across the league arguing well into the night. Before we dive any deeper, if you enjoy this kind of deep dive analysis and want to stay ahead of every twist and turn this off-season throws at Toronto, make sure you like the video, share it with a fellow Jays fan, and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report. Your support genuinely keeps this channel alive, and it never goes unnoticed. Now let's talk about that golden opportunity, because it has a name, and that name is Lars Nootbaar. At first glance, it doesn't feel like fireworks. It doesn't scream blockbuster. But baseball decisions aren't made in neon lights, they're made in the margins. Mitch Bannon recently shed light on the Blue Jays' thinking, noting that Stephen Kwan was a target at last year's deadline, but Cleveland's asking price bordered on the absurd. Gargantuan doesn't even begin to cover it. Then he pivoted to St. Louis, a franchise quietly dismantling pieces of its roster, with President Chaim Bloom all but confirming that more moves are coming. Bannon linked Brendan Donovan, Alec Burleson, and Lars Nootbaar to Toronto, noting that each could help fill holes beyond 2026, while also asking the uncomfortable question no fan likes to hear. Is it worth paying a real price for what might only be a one-win upgrade? That question hangs in the air like fog over Lake Ontario, and Nootbaar sits right at the center of it. There's been smoke around Lars Nootbaar for weeks now, and smoke in baseball almost always means fire. Josh Goldberg, a respected Jays writer, openly suggested that if Toronto wants to add an outfielder via trade, St. Louis is the place to look. Nootbaar, he notes, makes a ton of contact, hits the ball extremely hard, walks at a healthy clip, and yes, has a cool name, which never hurts. These are exactly the traits the Blue Jays have valued in recent seasons, players who don't chase ghosts and don't give away at-bats. The surface stats don't seduce you. A .686 OPS last season, the worst of his career, doesn't jump off the page. But baseball is a sport of context, and context tells us this was a down year for a 28-year-old left-handed bat who still sits in the 87th percentile for hard hit rate. This is a player with control beyond 2026, a strong arm, and a track record that includes near 800 OPS seasons. In other words, this is not a finished product, it's a discounted one. Against right-hand pitching last year, Nootbaar posted a respectable .734 OPS, while his struggles against lefties dragged the overall line down. His not being brought in to be a savior. His being brought in to be an option, a flexible, intelligent piece who can slot into the outfield, pinch hit in the right moments, and most importantly, hedge against the uncomfortable reality that someone on this roster is likely to regress. Father Time doesn't knock politely, and George Springer and Nathan Lukes are not immune. This is where development becomes a character in our story. Because if Lars Nootbaar walks into the Blue Jays hitting lab and shakes hands with Dave Hudgens, suddenly the narrative changes. Hudgens has resurrected swings, refined approaches, and turned solid hitters into dangerous ones. With Nootbaar's peripherals, an 800 OPS season isn't fantasy, it's plausible. And if that happens, you've stolen real value without burning the farm system to the ground. Keegan Matheson recently echoed this sentiment, linking Toronto to either Burleson or Nootbaar even before Bellinger signed with the Yankees. Matheson has said it before and he'll say it again. Ross Atkins always seems to have one significant trade in him every year. Last season it was Andrés Giménez, alongside a flurry of deadline moves that reshaped the roster. This off-season feels no different, only quieter. Brendan Donovan remains the dream option. He's versatile, consistent, and expensive in prospect terms. Nootbaar, by contrast, is attainable. Coming off a down year, with St. Louis clearly pivoting toward a retool, this is the kind of deal that can be made with a top 15 or top 20 prospect. Someone like RJ Schreck. Painful, yes, but survivable. This isn't about swinging for the fences, it's about stacking the deck. And let's be clear, Cody Bellinger is likely to be the better player next season. No one is disputing that. But his contract, swollen with opt-outs and inflated by Scott Borer's negotiating theater, tells you everything you need to know. The Yankees effectively bid against themselves, and the Blue Jays were never truly in that race. Taking a flyer on Nootbaar at a fraction of the cost, with years of control, suddenly looks like restraint, not failure. If you're enjoying this breakdown so far, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Blue Jays Report. It helps more than you know, and it keeps these conversations going. Now, zoom out for a second, because trades don't exist in isolation. Late last night, the Mets acquired all-star right-hander Freddie Peralta for 2 top 100 prospects, Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat. At first glance, it feels irrelevant to Toronto, but it's anything but. The Yankees were heavily rumored to be in on Peralta, and the fact that he's heading to New York's other team means one less elite arm tormenting the Blue Jays inside the AL East. Competition matters. We saw it last year when the Red Sox landed Garrett Crochet and immediately altered the balance of power. The AL East is ruthless, and any talent leaving it is a small victory. Juan Soto gone. Bo Bichette gone. Peralta staying out. These are margins, but championships are built on margins. Speaking of Bo Bichette, he finally broke his silence after joining the Mets, and his words landed like a match thrown onto dry grass. He thanked the Blue Jays, praised the organization, and insisted his priority was winning. On the surface, it sounds noble, but the subtext tells a different story. He admitted Toronto stayed in touch all off-season. Interest was there. At the end of the day, the decision became clear. 42 million reasons clear. And that's okay. Players chase security. Fans chase honesty. The frustration isn't that Bo left, it's that the truth had to be decoded between the lines. The Blue Jays have moved on, and in doing so, may have found themselves in a better long-term position. So here we are, standing at a crossroads. The Blue Jays could do nothing, tinker at the edges, and hope internal options hold the line. Or they could strike while St. Louis is selling, while the market is distracted, and quietly add a piece like Lars Nootbaar. Not a savior, not a superstar, but a calculated bet. And sometimes, the smartest moves are the ones that don't make headlines today, but make October a little less terrifying tomorrow. This off-season isn't over, not by a long shot. And if Ross Atkins has taught us anything, it's that patience often precedes action. Thanks for watching the Blue Jays Report. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, when the next twist inevitably arrives.